I think the costumes took us all by surprise, and now it's kind of obvious because, like, skins are a thing. But back then, again, it wasn't as common, and the sort of popularity and loyalty that people had to particular costume pieces and was like took me by surprise. Maybe it didn't take my colleagues by surprise, but I loved the spaceman costume. That was my favorite costume, and so I think that the Painted was DLC, wasn't it? God, I can't even remember
it was.
Now. Yeah, it was.
Metal
yeah.
Gear
So I think that was,
Solid. Yep.
Yeah, the MGS pack. Yeah, so I think I'm going to go with the MGS pack as it's early, but that's all my answers are going to skew to the early days. But MGS pack was massive, especially because I think it was the first big one that we did coming out of the game, out of shipping the game. And one of the things you'll learn if you go into games is like, I think that the perception is that you know what the game's going to be and then you make it and then you ship it, but that's not what happens at all. Like you have a ton of ideas. It's like a big smorgasbord of stuff, and you put them together, and sometimes they work and sometimes they don't work together. Like peanut butter and jelly. Okay, great, that was a great idea. And it's like, I don't know, gravy and bananas. Okay, that's a terrible idea, so I'm not going to do that. And like you don't know until what ends up happening. And there's this great website called The Cutting Room Floor, which is all about discovering like old bits of games that were like cut out. So when you finish a game like Little Big Planet 1, you haven't really finished. What you've got is like tons and tons of half-finished ideas that didn't make it into the final game. And Metal Gear Solid was our chance, even though we were exhausted, to like pick up some of the best bits of those ideas that hadn't quite made it into the first release of the game, and then fashion them around such an incredible IP as, Metal Gear Solid was the first game on PlayStation, I think, that I got like properly addicted to, like I actually completed. And bear in mind, I'm saying that as a non-gamer. Like, as I said earlier, I suck at playing games, but I have a real soft spot for Metal Gear. And I met Kojima shortly after that came out. He was just in the UK. And I went up to him and I was about to say like hello, and he said, "Hello, I'm Hideo Kojima." And I was like, "I know." My response was, "I know who you are." But yeah, it was he was very gracious, and it was very fun to demonstrate the game to him. And like, I remember trying to play the game, with him, for him, in a demo very early on. And I think I was quite ill that day, so I was like stressing out. And also, Japanese consoles have like circle and cross are swapped for menus as well. I seem to remember. So I was playing on a Japanese version of the game. I kept pressing X to proceed, and in fact I was cancelling. And it was just like, it's the worst demo ever. But he was very nice about it. So yeah.